Under the lights of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, Group E presented what looked like a straightforward clash. The final whistle confirmed a 2-1 victory for Ecuador, a result that disrupts the historical expectations for this matchup. For the German supporters, the immediate reaction was disbelief. Contrast that with the explosive celebrations in the Ecuadorian sections. The visceral stakes of tournament football were fully realized in these 90 minutes. While Germany dictated the game's territory and possession, the final score reflected a different reality. This chart measures field tilt, possession strictly within the final third. Germany held a massive territorial advantage, pinning Ecuador deep. However, overlaying expected goals shifts the perspective. Ecuador generated fewer shots, but of significantly higher quality. Ecuador's victory was built on a deliberate tactical blueprint that systematically exploited the mechanics of Germany's high-pressing system. Entering the match, Germany fielded a starting 11 defined by youth and deep tactical pedigree, suited for a high-intensity system. On this tactical board, we can see Germany's out-of-possession game model. They deploy an aggressive 4-2-3-1, pushing high up the pitch into a dense, compact block. The objective is to use coordinated pressing vectors from the front four to force turnovers deep in the opponent's territory, generating unorganized transitions. Ecuador answered with a lineup built on dual pillars: physical dynamism and strict positional discipline. Look at the split-screen comparison. To counter Germany's press, Ecuador adopted a fluid 3-box-3 structure in possession, generating a numerical superiority precisely where Germany intended to apply pressure. This shape relied on three principles: relentless press resistance, vertical progression through the half spaces, and constant positional rotation. To execute this, the Ecuadorian goalkeeper acted as an active passing node, providing a constant +1 advantage against the first line of German forwards. By forcing these structures to overlap, the center of the pitch became a zone of extreme tactical friction. By committing to this 3-box-3 structure, Ecuador systematically dared Germany to press, turning a tactical strength into a vulnerability. In the opening phase, the intensity was high. Germany immediately attempted to pin Ecuador's backline. Germany established specific pressing traps, leaving the wide channels open to bait predictable passes. We can see this in their defensive action heat map, where recoveries are concentrated in the wide areas of the middle third. To dismantle these triggers, Ecuador's double pivot actively dropped into these pressure zones, forming tight passing triangles that gave the ball carrier immediate outlets. The success of this evasion shows up in Ecuador's passing network data. The average player positions reveal a concentration of successful passes through the vertical channels Germany tried to close. They bypassed the isolated German midfielders by relying on third-man combinations, a repeating diamond linking the center back, fullback, and central midfielder. This efficiency impacted Germany's passes per defensive action. The metric failed to reach its historical average, indicating Ecuador held the ball longer in dangerous areas than Germany's system typically allows. Consequently, Germany's midfield was forced to retreat, spending their pressing energy on unsuccessful chases. By the 30-minute mark, these positional rotations granted Ecuador control over the match's tempo. Germany's press was dismantled by Ecuador's spatial geometry during the build-up phase. Maintaining possession against the press established the foundation. The next challenge was converting that control into goal-scoring threat. We can deconstruct the decisive winning goal by tracking the ball movement. The sequence starts as Ecuador regains possession in a mid-block, transitioning rapidly toward the German penalty box. The catalyst is a specific defensive mistake. A German center-back steps up late to cover a fractured defensive line, vacating the space behind him. The Ecuadorian winger identifies this gap instantly, carrying the ball directly into the half space and driving at the retreating defense. This carry is supported by a timed underlapping run from the fullback. In seconds, the defensive shape is compromised by a wide overload. By the time the final shot is taken, the expected goals value of the chance is high, a result of the build-up sequence's efficiency. This maps to expected threat, or XT. Ecuador moved the ball into specific zones that multiplied their probability of scoring. These goals resulted from the systematic application of spatial overloads, turning structural advantages into high-value scoring opportunities. Over 90 minutes, Germany mounted significant phases of pressure. This momentum timeline charts the flow of game control, alongside the tactical adjustments made from the bench. A massive spike in German momentum occurs between the 60th and 75th minutes, a window where they controlled possession and territory. To survive this phase, Ecuador adjusted their mid-block, dropping their defensive line to compress the space in behind and deny Germany vertical penetration. The anchor of this defensive stand was a hidden performer, Ecuador's holding midfielder, whose off-ball work rate dictated the phase. Even while Ecuador attacked, his positioning maintained rest defense. By occupying the correct transitional spaces, he neutralized Germany's counterattacks before they could materialize. Ecuador secured the victory because their structural resilience was capable of absorbing these pressure spikes without fracturing. The final statistical dashboard highlights the contrast between the two approaches. This visualization tracks Ecuador's efficiency in creating big chances, compared to Germany's higher volume of possession. From a tactical management perspective, Ecuador's coaching staff successfully executed their risk and reward decisions throughout the match. This result shifts the mathematical landscape of Group E. As the standings update, the probability chart reflects a significant rise in Ecuador's advancement odds. It is a reminder of the prize on the line and the standard of tactical execution required at this level. For Germany, the strategic challenge is whether they can adapt their system for the next fixture. The arena sits empty, but the tactical blueprint utilized on this pitch will likely be a point of study for both teams moving forward. Ecuador's success illustrates how positional geometry and space manipulation can effectively dismantle territorial dominance.